Okay, I can see that we've got some people here already. Hi, everyone. We will just wait for a couple of minutes for everyone else to join. We are now meeting on Zoom. We're also live streaming this on YouTube. So I don't know which part of the audience I can actually see, but I assume that there are some people joining through YouTube. So let's give them a couple of minutes to connect, to sit back, relax, prepare for this hour and a half roughly of hopefully very useful information for you guys. Let's see. Good to see so many familiar names. Hi, everyone. Yeah, we have a chat here, so you guys can just drop a couple of words, say hi. It would be great if you could introduce yourself, what company you represent. Even though I see there are some people from various aspects of this industry, so it would be great to see who's here today. We also have a Q&A section here. If you have any questions specifically about trading platforms or about any content that we're going to be sharing today, please feel free to ask your questions in the Q&A section. Drop them there during the presentation or after, completely up to you. We will pick up everything and answer every single question. Hi, everyone. Great. Good to see you. We got Rally Trade, we got Comma Capital. I see some other companies here as well. Wonderful. Okay, let's give it another couple of minutes. Can you guys hear me properly? Is there any echo or anything? No, very well. Okay, cool. Wonderful. Okay, great. So I think we could start. If someone who couldn't join today would like to recap what we're going to be talking in the first section, there will be a recording available to everyone. So also if you need to jump off at some point, hopefully the markets stay quiet during this time, this next hour, and no one will have to leave. But if you do, please feel free to do so, and we will send you a recording afterwards. So let me just start sharing my screen and we can start the webinar.
Hi, everyone.
Yay. Okay. Okay, great. You should see my screen now, right? Beautiful. Great. So welcome, everyone, once again. We're going to talk about how to build a trading platform that scales with your vision today. And in particular, your host today is Andrei Vidikhin, who is the founder and chairman of the board at Yobors. For those who don't know Andrei, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, and thanks for joining. So for those who don't know Andrei, he's got more than 30 years of experience in this financial industry that we all call home. He's the former co-founder of Velpari Group and one of the regional architects of the retail FX trade and infrastructure. And I hope that Andrei will be able to share some of the stories from the old days with us today, if you guys are interested. And obviously, Andrei is also the creator of all the Yobors products, the matching engine, the risk management, and the trade server, which we're going to be talking about today. So this is the person to talk to when it comes to anything about trading technology, connectivity, matching engine systems, trade engines, etc., etc. And myself, I'm Kate Rutkowska, Chief Revenue Officer at Yobors. I've been in the industry for about 14 years now. been working with brokers and various trading firms, and I mostly speak with brokers on a daily basis and help them choose and design scalable trading solutions. And obviously, as part of your work, I focus on high-performing front-end-led multi-asset platforms and architectures, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So the general overview of Yobors, for those who are not very familiar with us, we are a technology provider for brokers, prop firms, and all types of financial firms, really. We have been built by brokers and for brokers, as we like to say, because everyone at Yobors, the technical staff, the operations support, salespeople, and of course the founders, have been working in brokerage companies at some point. So we do understand the challenges that brokers face, the problems that they might have as they grow, and basically inside out, the brokerage business is very, very familiar to us. We have been in the market for about 8 years now, almost 9, really. The technical team is about 45 to 50 people right now. We are spread around the globe. And we've got around 115 clients as of today, and obviously we're growing, and especially last year has been really, really big year of growth for us, and we keep on growing. And the trade server that we are talking about today is part of that growth strategy. Some of our clients, some of them you might know, some of them are your logos, guys. So thanks again, everyone, for joining. I know that we have both our existing clients here and people who have never used our technology before. So welcome. And just a couple of words about who this webinar is best suited for. And if you think that you're one of those, you're in the right place. So we are targeting and we want to talk to ambitious brokers. What do we mean by ambitious brokers is brokers who want and are building proprietary technical solutions, platforms, mobile apps, web platforms, etc. And those who want to offer some unique customer experiences. So not just, marketing diversification, let's say, but also from the customer experience perspective, they're trying to build something unique, something interesting, trying to stand out. TradingView-led strategies also something that we're interested in. And if you have one of those, if you're looking at adding TradingView to a product suite, this is definitely going to be useful for you because there are lots of things that you need to know about integration of TradingView into the backend. We will talk about this today. We cater for the companies that have internal technical teams. So it's important to understand that building your own trading platform is a little bit more challenging than just, vibe coding something over the weekend. So if you as a broker do not have an internal technical team, it can be quite challenging for you to build one. And yeah, long-term vision is something that is very common for all the brokers that we talk to these days. We see that the landscape, as you know, of the financial industry is changing. And without this long-term vision, you're really just putting out fires and you're trying to serve the customers of yesterday, let's say. We are targeting those who have a vision for the next 3 to 5 years, and they see and they know what they want, and they see the challenges that they will have, and we are here to help you overcome those challenges. And yeah, it's definitely not for those brokers who are just looking into a simple plug and play solution with lowest cost possible. Not that cost is not a consideration, obviously, we're going to talk about this as well, but it's definitely not just a click couple buttons, deploy your server situation here. Next, we're going to talk about obviously all the demands that modern brokers have, and this comes from our experience, again, talking to brokers on a daily basis, setting up their infrastructure, providing different solutions to them. And as you know, we already have our product, which is some people call it a bridge, we call it a matching engine, and the risk management. So from that perspective, and now with the trade server, so we pretty much understand what brokers expect and what they want to do next. This is just one of those trends that we're seeing right now. Obviously, custom front ends, multi-asset trading, and we're going to talk about what it actually means today. Portfolio-based risk, and here we're talking about cross margin, collateral, where you can use different types of collateral, not just currencies, but multi-currency accounts, stocks as a collateral, etc., etc. And obviously, continuous operations becomes something like a benchmark in the industry. 24/7 market access is pretty much a must today, which also obviously imposes certain strains on the operational teams and technology side of things as well. So we're going to go into the main part now, where we're going to be talking about the problems and solutions that brokers have. And we are going to go through it first, and then we'll pick up on the questions from the Q&A section here. Please feel free to drop your questions as we go through. If we will see some questions that are relevant to what we are talking about, we will be obviously picking them up and commenting. Andrew here is the technical mind that is capable of commenting on pretty much anything. So if you guys have any technical challenges right now, or if what I'll be sharing will provoke some more technical questions, Andrew is here to comment on that. Right. Okay, let's go in. So I'm going to be sharing a couple of stories today, which, without naming any names, happened in real life. Those are real stories of brokers who approached us, Yobors, as a provider, and shared their challenges, and we found solutions for them. So we feel like this will be very useful for everyone to know and to be able to learn from that experience and pick the right solution for you. So let's say broker A, no names here, mid-sized broker, retail broker with strong growth trajectory, and they've got an internal product and mobile development team, and they're also running a prop business. What they wanted is just offer a single platform for both broker and prop clients with a simple unified control center for managing both businesses. Sounds simple, right? So it doesn't sound like anything complicated. Let's talk about the challenges that they faced when they tried to do that. So first and foremost, everything was running smoothly, and suddenly they faced problems from their current vendor, where they're basically introduced restrictions that made it clear that their prop business can no longer run on that platform. The broker obviously had to rethink the whole strategy and start looking for alternative solutions, because they can't build what they want, and they can't rely on the provider who can basically change the policy at any point. So yeah, the lack of control was basically the biggest problem here. The solution to that, they came to us obviously, and they were looking for a backend solution that will be aligned with the possibility of scaling, right? So something that can be safe, something they can rely on, and something that they can be sure about in terms of nothing's gonna be changed overnight. The approvals, permissions, all that is very crystal clear, and there are no changes that can just happen to their business where they will have to adjust to it. So yeah, that was achieved through very crystal clear contractual relationship, obviously, but also the essence of the business, right? So if we're talking about us, Yobors and TradeServer as a product, and we will talk about this in a second, we are building this backend as the API first product. So this is our core business, to stimulate the growth of our clients, to work with as many different front ends and other third-party vendors as possible, because that's the core, that's the essence why we created the TradeServer in the first place. It's just a backend. There is no front end attached to it. We do not have our own front end. Hence, it's in our best interest to stimulate brokers build their own platforms, front end platforms, or use one of the pre-integrated options. Another problem they faced with, and obviously they had several and considered several vendors, was insufficient API support. And by that, I mean that the backend of the current vendor was not designed for third-party front ends. And this is what I've just mentioned before. Most of the existing platforms on the market have been built as front-end first. So they were built as something that broker can just buy as a package, front-end and back-end. Again, some of the legacy issues attached here as well. Basically, all the workflows are built to serve that junction between the existing front end and existing back end. And brokers obviously have to find workarounds because it's almost impossible to build your own front end with your own vision on top of someone else's backend. You're basically constrained by what is already there. So the UX, UI vision kept collapsing into someone else's template, as they put it, which I find very, very accurate and precise. It's basically, if you're having a vision, you can't really execute it fully if you're not building on something that can support every single thing in your strategy. So the solution again was the API first backend, and that we believe that this is the only possible way for any broker to be able to introduce their own proprietary front end, is to rely on an API first backend, because otherwise it's basically a conflict of interest between the vendor and the broker. And API first allows you to connect any front end. Our own trade server supports all types of APIs, fix, WebSockets, REST, flat buffers. And so you can connect front ends, you can connect your CRMs, you can connect your back office systems, business intelligence systems, liquidity providers, and any bridges. So obviously trade server itself is integrated with the Yours bridge, but we're also integrated with all other bridges out there. You can even provide fix sessions to a fix taker straight from the trade server. That's also possible. So yeah, basically what was achieved thanks to this API first architecture is that any feature that the broker wants to introduce, they can introduce, and they get instant support for that. Even if there is something that was not part of the product of this backend originally, it can always be added, because that's our core business, is the backend, not the front end. Next problem is the documentation. If we have any developers here, they probably will appreciate this one. Documentation is usually one of the biggest headaches. If the imagine the situation if the product was built as an in-house product where the front end and back end are talking to each other, but it's all in-house. So obviously documentation might not be as robust as it could be if the backend was built from the ground up, built as something that would need to allow third-party connections, right? So yeah, obviously the development team lost lots of time trying to interpret the available specs, trying to understand the logic, the endpoints, the workflows, etc. And it slows things down very, very much. And AI friendliness, again, I think this is one of the benchmarks, really should be, at least these days, for any product to have AI friendly documentation, because obviously we at Yours, we rely on AI quite a lot in our development department. I know a lot of companies who are creating their own in-house solutions that also rely on AI, because it just speeds things up dramatically. So in this particular case, the ETA for the integration was about 2 months originally, but it took 8 months to reach just the minimum viable product stage, because the documentation was so unclear and there was so much friction just to understand what needs to be built and how those endpoints work. And of course, it was almost impossible to accelerate with AI, because before you can provide any documentation to AI, you need to make sure that it's accurate and it's straightforward. So yeah, obviously we took that into consideration, and our documentation is very clear and structured and absolutely AI friendly. And we had a client who actually, besides just rebuilding the whole integration in a couple of weeks, they even ran an internal hackathon based on these trade server APIs, because they had the documentation which allowed them to do so. So besides just completing the project, they also got creative and kind of had an internal competition within the company between different teams to come up with the best possible solution. So again, it speeds things up dramatically, and also opens up the opportunities for creativity and creating the best possible user experience for your client. The next problem is performance challenges, and this is obviously an industry-wide challenge for everyone in the financial industry, but especially when we're talking about trading platforms. Once you start building, or I would rather say even before you start building on top of any backend, stress tests are absolutely a must. And once these particular brokers started building and they started running stress tests, they obviously noticed some latency and bottlenecks where the behavior of the platform was not as they expected. Again, because the platforms are built in a way that supports their own front end, I suppose maybe Andre can comment on this a little bit better. But yeah, basically performance is a big concern. And if you're stress testing, you have a chance to uncover those limitations. So for example, in this case, clients, the broker was running about 50,000 accounts and 3,000 symbols, and the platform just did not survive any this kind of tests. There was a lot of latency, and the experience was just not as expected. Yeah, the solution for that in our case, what we did, we obviously have an experience with the trading technology, have an experience working with platforms, working with ultra low latency matching engine and bridging technology and connectivity. We built the trade server that can support about 10 million open positions with horizontal scaling. So obviously, if you're having more than 100,000 accounts roughly, we would recommend to have another instance of the platform. But the performance of a platform basically is measured by the number of open positions that it can handle at any given moment. Because as you can imagine, the backend, the main function, let's say, of the backend is the margin calculations. So for the margin calculations, we have to recalculate the value of every open position and on every tick, basically. And what we did, we introduced an optimized calculation method that allows the server to basically stay stable even within very active periods of high volatility, high number of quote updates. So even if there is very fast market movement, we will not slow down the performance of the server. We will not freeze or anything like that. We will just keep a tick, but we will keep continuing calculating the margins, the positions, and all the stop losses, take profits, and all the orders are going to be working as expected. And overall, our SLA is 5 nines and has been over years. It's consistently delivered across all our clients, across all locations. And for the trade server, we intend to keep that standard, and we have been given that standard. So we are quite happy with the result of what we've built, and performance-wise, we do believe that it's one of the fastest and most reliable solutions on the market at the moment. And under any market conditions and at any scale, brokers can be confident that their trading backend will handle the load. Let me just check if we have any questions so far. Guys, feel free to drop questions if you have any. So next problem is lack of technical support. It feels like probably maybe not as big of a problem. However, again, it slows things down. If we're talking about innovation, if we're talking about ambitious brokers who are building their solutions, speed is the key. We know how fast the markets are changing. We know how fast brokers have to adapt to whatever is happening in the market, in the competitive landscape. So the lack of the support leads to just very, very slow integration times. Whenever there is a technical question, usually what platform support does, you just have to go through the standard technical ticket loops, as we call it, or chats with people who are not really the developers, who are not really the people who build that product. So deeply architectural, deeply technical questions take days, if not weeks, to get answered, let alone some complex architectural deep dives and valuations, etc. So obviously, when you're building a platform, you don't need account management. You need to talk to engineers. You need to talk to people who build the product. And that's why we have Andre here today. So if you have questions to him, he's the one. He's the one who built the trade server. So yeah, obviously, we, as you can see, establish direct access to those experts, to those developers who built the platform, who understand the product side of things, the client's business, the architecture of the platform, etc., etc. And we also give our clients unlimited access to a sandbox environment where they can obviously first ask questions to our engineering team and then implement it straight away and test it. And thus the cycle of implementation speeds up dramatically. The next story of the next broker was slightly different, but they did encounter most of those problems, the same ones as we mentioned previously. The next broker wanted to expand their offering beyond the standard CFDs and offer a true multi-asset. And this is where we're going to be talking about the multi-asset, what it actually means. Without breaking the margin model, and this is the important part, is that currently the modern demand is that people want to offer single account, single basically experience for clients who want to trade different asset classes. They want them to have one single balance and margin across the portfolio, not just separated, by different asset types, or let alone spread across different platforms, which used to be the case. And also adding TradingView as a platform has also become a trend. We see it over and over again, and this also can be quite a challenge. So building their own platform according to their own vision, that will allow them to stand out. That was their goal, which again was quite difficult to achieve with their current tech stack. So let's talk about those challenges. First problem was that real multi-asset doesn't really let's put it this way, it's understood differently, right? So when we are talking about multi-asset and we hear about multi-asset in marketing, it doesn't mean that in practice it is true multi-asset. So the broker was told that they could offer multiple asset classes using the current product. However, in reality, there was no support for crypto spot, for perpetuals, for futures, some other challenges, let's say, and limitations that they discovered. And the reason for it is that most of the current platforms are built as CFD first, right? Or if you go a little bit outside of CFD industry, you will find that other platforms are also suited to just one asset class, let's say just futures first, right, etc. So that obviously creates hurdles and quite a big challenge for those who want to have everything under one account. So paying for multiple platforms, having to spend months, if not years, integrating the front end with multiple backends, that's definitely not something you would like to do. Again, taking the speed of how everything is developing in the market. So the solution is quite simple, but not very simple, because what we did, we built a true multi-asset backend by design. So basically from the ground up, it wasn't built as the platform for CFDs. It was built as the platform for any asset type out there. So architecturally, it is suited to serve for FX and CFD, of course, the crypto spot, the perpetuals, the exchange traded instruments. It supports multiple settlement dates for same symbols. It supports physical delivery instruments. Sorry, and obviously all order and expiry types, and lots of other features that obviously I don't want to list all of them, but in a nutshell, when you're building a platform with the vision that I want to service as many asset classes as possible, that obviously creates the architecture that is suitable for it. So we don't have, in the trade server, we obviously don't have those limitations, and we can offer, brokers who are using our trade server can offer all types of assets. No cross margin is very closely connected with the different asset types, because obviously on CFD first platforms, margin is just calculated per instrument or per asset class, and it's pretty much impossible to run a portfolio-based model where margin is calculated based on the total value of the portfolio, not just separated instrument. So what the broker wanted, they wanted their clients to be able to trade all asset types from one account with single balance, and it was impossible. In the trade server, margin is calculated across entire portfolio. So that's again one of the things that we thought through from the very beginning. And exposure and margin requirements basically are calculated based on all the assets in the portfolio. And liquidations also happen at the portfolio level, and now clients can trade stocks, CFDs, crypto, etc., all in one account. And obviously, brokers now can reach to a wider audience, target the traders they would not be able to attract before, and truly stand out. And that was their goal. No cross-asset collateral is another problem, because as you know, in CFD platforms, we mostly have we just have the standard currency accounts, let's say, right? What we did to solve this problem. I'll speak about this in a minute, but basically the problem was that the broker offered, even if they could offer multiple asset types, they couldn't offer the use of those assets as a collateral. So basically impossible to do now, before, but possible to do now. Trade server now allows to use any asset, not only currencies as a collateral, but also it supports multi-currency accounts. So again, clients now can have crypto on their accounts. They can use that as a collateral for stocks and vice versa. So that's basically what a lot of brokers believe is the future of trading. And we provide a solution that allows you to get ready for it. Excuse me. The next problem is that crypto offerings in particular really become challenging with CFD first architecture, with the traditional platforms, because of certain types of requirements or behaviors, let's say. Obviously the 24/7 trading, so the platforms should be up and running 24/7, and it should be capable of doing all the maintenance, within a couple of seconds with no downtime, etc. Things like intraday swaps, which are quite popular, for example, for perpetuals, and the things like decimal places, which currently most platforms, CFD platforms, have limitations of, I think, maximum 8. Crypto products require at least 12, sometimes even more, but mostly within that range. As many levels of market depth as possible. That's another requirement, because as you know, crypto instruments are quoted with multiple dozens, let's say, of levels. So obviously CFD systems, CFD first systems were never designed to handle that. That's not how CFD products work. So obviously brokers can still offer crypto CFDs, but the full support of crypto spot and perpetuals was almost impossible. The solution here is quite easy. Support native, support trading 24/7, support intraday swaps, 15 plus, or again, like I said, basically 12 decimal places is enough, and unlimited market depths. That's what we also do at TradeServer. Full crypto spot and perpetual support basically, and now besides the CFDs, people can offer proper spot and perpetuals. The next problem is the TradingView integration, which is, I don't know if anyone here has experience with TradingView. It can be quite a challenge. And with some providers, with some vendors, it is just close to impossible. So for example, in this case, broker B couldn't implement TradingView integration because all the logic of the current platform was locked into, again, the vendor's own GUI, own front end. And besides that, besides the difficulties of the technical integration, there was also organizational chaos because TradingView, as the platform provider and the broker, and the backend provider, were basically blaming each other, trying to understand who's responsible for which part of the integration, etc. So no one wanted to own the outcome, and that created this months and months of integration. So in this particular case, it took the vendor almost a year to facilitate this integration. Again, because there was some development that needed to be done to allow other front ends to connect to backend, etc., etc. So again, much slower, lots of project deadlines were not met. And as far as I know, to this day, that integration is not fully live. What we're doing at Yobarz with the TradeServer, we created basically a plug and play TradingView integration, and we became an official redistributor of TradingView. And what we do to help you accelerate time to market, we help you first and foremost understand the products of the TradingView, because they have multiple products. As you know, they have the advanced charting, they have the proper broker integration when you can be part of their ecosystem and also benefit from being part of the trading community that they've created over the years. But there's also the trading platform as a separate product, which can also be available to even non-regulated brokers. So there are lots of things happening at TradingView, and we stay up to date with all the development, obviously. And when a client who wants to introduce TradingView to their offering approaches us, we are able to help them understand which of the products they need to use to achieve what they want to achieve. And the onboarding flow, obviously, we can assist with as well, as much as we can, because it also can take some time from the TradingView side. We obviously providing this whole integration layer, which is already implemented by multiple brokers for different products. And as we are in the middle, let's say, between the TradingView and the broker, we took the role of the integration owner, meaning we will be having weekly or bi-weekly calls with your development team, where we will be going through all the integration steps that need to be done. We will be pushing things. If something's not moving, we will be troubleshooting and helping the broker if they need to understand something better. But first and foremost, we are the ones doing this integration. Obviously, every broker integration is unique, but we are doing the business analysis. We are helping you understand what exactly needs to be done here from your end, what needs to be done from our end, and we are pushing things forward. So it became very, very straightforward for the brokers now, and it takes a couple of months for the most difficult integration. If it's just a simple charting, it just takes a week or two. Next problem is infrastructure. It's quite a big challenge for a lot of brokers. We're talking about mid-sized to big-sized brokers here. So obviously, even having the resources, infrastructure is still a big challenge. So hosting, monitoring, maintenance, all the updates, that all consumes your internal operational resources. And instead of building and instead of creating the products that you want to create and what you want to focus on, you end up constantly just firefighting with the infrastructure, with the upgrades, with the maintenance, with the, again, as we spoke about, the performance. You have to spend a lot of time making sure that your infrastructure stays intact. And that, again, slows down and let alone increases your expenses. The solution is, we believe, is to leave it to the provider. So we at Yours fully handle hosting and maintenance of the trade server. And we believe that we, as the creators of this product, are best suited to do so and ensure the 5 nines SLA. We've got extensive experience of building trading infrastructure, hosting it, maintaining it. And we do believe that this is the best solution possible, which allows you to get that peace of mind and let the experts handle the infrastructure for the platform that they built. So that seems logical. And I think that's the last problem, last but not least. Is the volume-based fees. As we know, the times are changing in the market. The growing volumes do not necessarily translate into profits. And the last couple of weeks were very good proof for that, I think. So as the broker grows, the platform fees increase. And it does not correspond with the profits, right? So to be able to scale, the brokers need flexibility to test hypotheses, to introduce new features, new products, while keeping the costs under control. However, instead, as you scale and as you grow, you start paying more and more for your platform, which we believe should not be the case. So at Yours, we introduced the flat monthly fee for the trade server. So it's basically a monthly subscription with pricing based on account capacity and the hosting that we do. Again, you are free to do the hosting yourself if you really, really want to, but we do highly recommend to leave it to the specialists. So you can see the rough pricing here. We obviously can go higher than 100,000 accounts. That's an enterprise price plan that can be discussed with each client separately. We do advise on the best package. Usually we sit down, we estimate how many accounts you will be having. So the higher the number of accounts, the higher the monthly cost, but it's a fixed cost, it's very predictable, and you know that even if you will be having higher volumes this month due to volatility, let's say, as long as the number of accounts stays within the range, you're not going to be facing any extra fees, right? So that was a brief overview of the problems and solutions. Obviously, there is many more problems, that smaller ones that brokers face as they go through. And what I would like to say before we go into the Q&As is that if you can maybe take a screenshot of this and take that as your key takeaways from today's conversation, is if you're building a trading platform, I do highly recommend to audit your backend in terms of execution, logic, pricing, etc., to make sure that you are not tied to someone else's UI in terms of what you want to do. Decide if you're truly multi-asset, and we spoke about this today, the different technicalities of what true multi-asset requires. Test it out with the current vendor, see how it works, and if it doesn't, decide if you really need it, or you can maybe compromise and just stay with the current vendor, but then just accept the fact that it's not going to be true multi-asset. Upgrade your margin model to portfolio-based risk. That is probably one of the recommendations for those who really want to prepare for the future demand, because we also believe that's where the market is going. The API quality should really be a go and no-go criteria, because we see this times and times again when brokers are trying to build a product on top of the non-API friendly, let's say, backends, and it just becomes a nightmare. It just create so many hurdles in the integration process and assume that your timelines will triple if the APIs are not well documented. Stop scaling on the pricing model that penalizes growth. We all want to grow. We as a provider want to grow with our clients, and we do believe that it's best to go with a provider that has the same mindset and will support your growth and will understand your challenges when you grow. A quick overview or just a summary of what we've discussed about the trade server. We obviously, as mentioned, we built a front-end agnostic platform with all types of APIs. We have admin and public APIs. It can be WebSockets, REST, fixed API, or flat buffers. We do support cross-asset margin, multi-currency accounts, unified liquidation, as well as the multi-asset core. And all of that in a low latency architecture, fully hosted and managed by us with a flat monthly fee and 24/7 operations. Quick sneak peek. And if you have questions, I'm going to pick them up from the Q&A now. However, if there will be something that we did not discuss today, or you'd actually want to go deeper into architecture specifically of the trade server, or just have a demo of the admin UI that we can also do, drop us an email and we can schedule a call, and I'll be happy, or some of our team members will be happy to walk you through. Don't worry, we don't do hard sells. I think it's important to mention at this stage, we are interested in building partnerships rather than just selling you a product. As you see, we're building solutions for our clients rather than just selling and pushing something that we've built for ourselves. And yeah, let's meet in Dubai. If you are in Dubai or if you're going there, we're going to be exhibiting at booth 11 at IFX Expo next week. So drop us a line or just drop by the booth. And we are in the Q&A now. So let's have a look what we have there. Okay, we have a question about API. What about client-side API? REST WebSockets, similar to those used by crypto exchanges, private key management. Andrei?
Yeah, maybe this will be my moment of glory. Yes.
Please.
Okay, thank you very much for a very detailed presentation. Before I start answering questions, and I will start answering them in the order they came, but I would like to add just a couple of sentences to what Kate already said. For example, 2 years ago, we didn't plan to build the trade server backend at all. We didn't think that it was needed. But after that, lots of our clients, and not just our clients, they were coming to us with the pain points Kate already highlighted in her very detailed presentation. And they were saying, we need one more trade server backend, which will address these pain points and problems and challenges, etc. I'm not going to repeat all these problems because majority of them they already were presented. There were a few more which were not in the list, but the people, the brokers, they will keep coming to us, and we decided, yeah, maybe there is a demand for this product. And that's why we actually decided to build, and we built this product. And right now we can see that this was the right decision, because right now we see so much demand, like for demos to present this product. Yeah, that's just, it was a very good business decision, and we are happy that we can help brokers to solve their problems with our solution. But let's come back to the questions. So let's start with the first question about API. What about client-side API REST WebSockets, similar to those used by crypto exchanges, private key management? Yes, we do have those. So let's focus only on REST and WebSocket API. As Kate already mentioned, fixed API, flat buffers API, we're not going to touch when answering this question. But when it comes to REST and WebSocket API, we provide 4 types of APIs. First of all, we have admin APIs, REST and WebSocket API. I will start with this briefly. So obviously, admin API will have everything what client API has, and also admin API, REST API, for example, will allow you to configure the system, to run some reports, etc. So it has more than client API has. So basically, the full back office risk management capabilities via REST and WebSocket APIs you can get. And obviously, WebSocket admin API, you can subscribe for position updates, order updates, trading account state updates, like anything, configuration changes, symbol changes, groups changes, everything. So available via WebSocket admin API and REST API usually when you want to change something or you just want to request, I don't know, the list of statements sent today at the end of the day or list of positions or run some reports, etc. So this is admin APIs, but we do have client-side APIs which are public. We have not opened it up yet. I mean, if you contact us, we provide you access to this, but obviously the plan is to make it open to the whole internet. So we have client APIs, REST and WebSocket. REST will allow again to issue get and post requests and to either get some information or to do something. For example, place an order, change an order, get an open position, change stop loss, take profit on the position, get account state, get the list of positions, get some historical trades, like lots of things which can be done via REST API. And obviously WebSocket API, this is like real-time like data is being delivered. So you subscribe for, let's say, depths of the market L2 or L1 for like top of the book updates. You can subscribe for your order updates, position updates, etc. And if you actually compare these APIs to crypto exchange APIs, you will see that they're very, very similar. Not the complete replica, but very, very much similar to what exchange are offering. So JSON is a pilot, what we use for pilot for REST and WebSocket APIs. In terms of private key management, it's quite simple. So there is an endpoint to authorize. You basically need to provide your login. You need to sign this with HMAC signature using your password, and we will issue you API token as well as the signing key or signing API token. Let's call it signing key. And for example, for your read-only request, you just need to use this API token we issued. Obviously, it's like valid only like for 1 hour or whatever. And if you need to do something, for example, send an order, you need to use the signing key to use HMAC signature to sign your request. So again, it is possible on the trade server to disable signing. Obviously, you will need only to sign when you get this authorization endpoint and you are getting this API token. And obviously, if you want to extend this API token, there is like another endpoint, refresh API token. You just call it, and the expiry of this API token and signing token are extended. So very similar to what you find with like crypto exchanges, very similar and very web application, web client terminal friendly. So that's probably the answer to the first question. The second question is, can each asset have its own margin and the margin not be set for group level like MT products? Actually, I think MT is doing an amazing job, MetaTrader 5 specifically. So in terms of all this like margin formulas, margin flexibility, so we have similar setup, but it's still a little bit different because we have something what MetaTrader doesn't have. So we added. But let's start like explaining like from the big picture point of view. So first of all, when you set up a symbol, you can specify different calculation modes for margin calculation mode, for profit calculation mode, etc. And if you look at the formulas, you will see that there are more calculations mode supported than in majority of the platforms. So, for example, Kate already mentioned that we support like multi-currency accounts. So you can set up. Sorry, this is. Yeah, so you can set up like symbol like a currency like euro, GBP, etc. And after that, for each particular group, you can add that. For example, this group can have balances in euros, GBPs, USD, etc., etc. One group currency is still like the main. So, for example, whatever you see P&L margin requirements, it's converted into group currency. But actually, you have these balances in different currencies as your collateral kind of. Yeah, it's like truly multi-currency accounts. But also there are like collaterals. You can, for example, deposit your spot crypto with the broker and just use it as collateral. So, but let's come back. There is a symbol setting different calculation formulas, margin and profit calculation formulas, different parameters, tick value depends on the asset type, etc., contract size, etc. So very similar to what MT and other platforms have. But also at the group level, you can override any of the settings. So you can say that, for example, this particular group has access to these symbols you specify by symbol masks. And for this, like what we call symbol group profiles, you can override any multiplier or divider in the formula. So, for example, if the formula uses XYZ settings of the symbol, you can override this at the group level. But also in addition to this, so this is what like similar to MetaTrader, for example, because the question was about MetaTrader. But there are some other things in addition to traditional margin calculation modes. For example, we will be offering NLP mode, floating leverage. Again, floating leverage, MetaTrader has it. Before MetaTrader launch floating leverage, we developed a MetaTrader 4.5 floating leverage plugin with very advanced functionality. Same functionality will be available in Trade Server like as native integration. But as I said, NLP and some other things. Also, Kate is already mentioned. We have not yet launched it, but we are planning to launch it in our roadmap, like support for different like settlement dates. For example, when you have open positions in, I don't know, like Euro USD with different settlement dates, etc., it's more like institutional kind of functionality, and other pieces of institutional functionality requested by our clients, existing or clients who are being onboarded. So again, for example, if you have euro dollars, for example, with different settlement dates, again, margin calculations will be completely different. So it's not what is offered by default, like by MetaTrader, or can be set up in our case. So there will be definitely different differences. But again, when we're building our trade server, we actually analyzed all existing trading platforms, and we tried first of all to understand what's missing, and we already added, or we are adding this to our platform, but also we took the best whatever the platforms have, and we tried to make sure that the best features we do have in our trade server. So I hope I answered your question. Again, it's better, for example, if you need more specific answer, you can contact us directly, and we can answer specific question about a specific business case, asset class, etc. But I think as a generic answer, I think I covered this. The next question is the overall infrastructure would be UI, your Burst Trade Server, client office, back office. Let me answer this question. So Kate talked mainly about trade server backend, but technically speaking, it's not the only product when it comes to trade server which we are offering. So we obviously have the trade server backend, which is like server-side engine, which keeps all this like open positions, orders, does the matching, pricing, execution, serving via APIs, like different APIs, etc. But also we built, we call it admin UI application. So it's basically your full and advanced back office and partially risk management. When I say partially risk management, because we have lots of more features to add. So, but you basically can do anything. So you don't have to build your own back office to deposit money, to run some reports, for example, to configure groups or symbols or whatever. So to see like trade history. Uh, there are lots of capabilities of this admin UI, and this is what we built, and it's coming for free, as an addition to trade server backend. We are considering, to be honest, open sourcing it. To be honest, I'm not sure whether we'll do it or not, because again, we want people to extend it. This admin UI, not trade server, obviously, not trade server backend. There are lots of examples how to integrate, how to do things. So we have a public repository with different examples in C# and I think in other languages, how to do in some JavaScript, etc. I'm a C++ guy, so sorry, my web development knowledge probably is limited. But yes, you will get the full back office, which is functionality-wise is growing rapidly, and we are adding more and more features. And the clients they suggest what to add. Also, Kate already mentioned about TradingView integrations. Again, so once if you want like TradingView integration, you will not to there will be no needs for you to do the integration itself because it will be done by us. It is done by us. Again, the technical details, what you need to, I don't know, iframe or whatever. I'm not a web development guy, so I can't comment on this. But yeah, we have a web development team who can guide through how to use TradingView in your application, how to plug and play it. So again, this is something which we took care of. Yeah, coming back to the question, so client office, back office. So back office, we already have it. We have integrations with some CRMs, and obviously we're integrating with them by demand. So once there is a business case, once our client if our client is using CRM which we are not integrated with, we contact them, we integrate. We are doing integrations and we completed integrations with risk management systems. I'm not going to name all of them, but for example, Tapas, you all know. So that's what will be available like very soon, if not available already. So lots of integrations are happening, and obviously, if you are using a third party, most likely we are either integrated with them, or we are integrating with them, or we will be integrating with them if you ask us. So again, we some integrations we even like sponsor. Some integrations, I mean, sponsor not about money. Usually it's not about money. It's more about time, doing something, amending our APIs, making sure that integration from third party is very quick and flawless without any problems. But yeah, probably you will need to build your front end if this is your strategy. If it's not your strategy, again, we already integrated with some front ends. I think Kate already mentioned like FX Blue, fully integrated, TradingView. I'm not sure whether we already published or not, but we are very close to like officially announce that it's available now because the development work, I think it's completed. Just probably some legal stuff needed to be finalized, etc. Also, few clients who signed up, they're building front end, their unique front end, and they will be offering this front end to brokers, etc. I'm not going to name names at the moment, but obviously you can speak to Kate, and keeping, my mouth shut.
Yes, please.
Sorry. Yeah, yeah.
You'll see everything from the press releases.
Yes,
At
yes,
the
yes,
time.
yes. Yeah. Okay. So in terms of, for example, routing and instrument setup, this is, okay, sorry. I missed. The trade server will have easy integration with UBERT matching engine, or setup is similar to other platforms. Okay. So basically, first of all, the main idea is if you take trade server as a product, you don't have to use your burst. I mean, obviously, we would love it, but again, it's not like obligatory to use Uber's as your like bridging provider. Obviously, with Uber's, it's like native integration. With almost any other provider where we integrated as Uber's, again, you can consider that the integration is done. And from your point of view, usually it's as simple as just picking up the integration type. Even if it's not in the menu, we can make a workaround to make sure that you are connected to any liquidity provider, any technology provider where your burst is as a bridge integrated with. And we are integrated with, I think, everything, or at least everything what is needed for our clients. So that's why integration is like done. It's like native, yeah. In terms of routing and instrument setup, if you look at our order routing in the trade server, it's very advanced and it will be very familiar actually if you use, for example, okay, I'm not going to name any names, but it will be very, very familiar because what you can specify, so how it works, there are filters, there are rules, and each rule has filters and actions. So multiple filters, for example, you can filter by instrument, by time of the day, by position age, whether the position is profitable, whether I don't know anything like by group, obviously, by some classification ID, which you can also set up based on other things, etc. So like different things. You just name it. You just name. We already have it in the filters. I think we have probably like 20 or 30 filters you can apply to the rule, and obviously all these filters must match when the rule is active. And obviously, first matched rule will win. And rule also has the list of actions. So what you can do, obviously, the main actions are sent to the bridge provider, say sent via like we call it liquidity connector. So let's say to Ubers or some other bridge provider this order. You can obviously put some like custom tags if you need. So there is some capabilities in this area as well. But also you can also confirm, you can reject, so like different actions. Yeah, you can delay, obviously. Okay, probably I shouldn't be saying this for recording purposes. Sorry, I think I need to keep my mouth shut a little bit. So, but routing is very, very advanced. Unlimited number of rules you can do, and yeah, there is a very detailed knowledge page article about routing. Yeah, in terms of instrument setup, as I said, like all the parameters needed, you can set up, you can override them at the group level. The list of instruments much bigger than usually the platforms have. As I already answered it a little bit before, but again, if we want to dig into details, probably it's not the right time, so probably it's better to organize another call for this. Yeah. Yeah, in terms of okay, in terms of custom scripts, as we already mentioned, we provide all the APIs. So our trading platform does not have like its own like alga language, like expert advisors in MetaTrader, but we provide APIs. So that means that you can write either scripts or your applications. You can subscribe for different event types. For example, when it comes to like leverage change, again, you can subscribe for group change or trading account changes, or like positions, orders, anything, you can subscribe. And there is an API, admin API. For example, obviously there is a client API. You can just place an order, delete an order, modify something, close position, etc. But also as an admin, if you want to do something in real time, you can do it because there is a manage admin API for anything. For anything, depends on your permissions, obviously. There is a very advanced permission-based system. Different people, different logins can have different permissions to do things. But yeah, so it's not like custom scripts, it's full support via API. Again, the most important and the most demanded like admin tasks or back office tasks, we try to automate, we try to do in UI. I will just provide you one example. There are many of these examples. For example, corporate actions, split, consolidation, dividend adjustments, etc. Obviously, you don't have to write your script to do this stuff. So these common things will be available via our admin API. But obviously, if something is not available, you can either ask us to deliver or you can create your own application script by using our APIs. Yeah, that's at the moment, that's the last question.
Wonderful. Thank you, Andre. Yeah, guys, if you have any other questions or you wanted us to elaborate on any of the questions that we did answer, feel free to, let me just go back to those details. So drop us an email at sales@yourboss.com, or you can find me on LinkedIn, Telegram, email. I think you all know my contacts, but I will also answer if you drop an email to sales inbox, and we'll be happy to arrange a call for you and go over your specific questions, because like I mentioned before, every broker is unique, every platform is unique, every project is very unique in terms of what brokers want to have, what they don't want to have. And we'll be happy to do the demo of the whole trade server UI, how the admin side of things, obviously, explain how it works, share the API documentation, provide access to sandbox, everything that you need to see, to know, to try out. We will be happy to provide to you and answer all the questions.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone who joined today. So we'll be having the recording available shortly. We'll share it with all of you. Feel free to share it with your colleagues if needed. Drop us an email, say hi, and if you're in Dubai, please come meet us next week. We can actually do demos during the expo as well. So hopefully to see some of you there. And if not, hope to see you at some of our next webinars. Thank you, everyone. Andre, thank you so much for
Thank
your
you. Thank
insights
you.
and
Bye bye.
answers. Thanks, everyone. Bye.